Exactly. So if me, I'm a distressed owner. If I'm a distressed owner, I own a property that's worth $100,000. But because I'm in a distressed situation, I say, hey, I'll sell it to you, Sleeves, for $80,000. You will write a contract. Me and you will write a contract, which is your equitable interest, right? For $80,000. So you are owning the rights to that home for $80,000. Then you go and find someone like Mike who will buy it for $90,000.
Right.
You and Mike, then basically you sell that contract, your equitable interest, to Mike for $90,000. So there's a difference there. It's $80,000 and $90,000. That $10,000 difference is what you keep as the person that put that deal together. So that's just easy explanation, just like Bob said, for listeners out there who are unfamiliar with wholesalers. Guys, this is Dan Wynn
and Mike Glaspie,
and welcome to Military Cashflow. We have a great guest today. His name is Robert Shortsleeves. Do you go by Bob sometimes, I hear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do go by Bob. It seems like most folks in the real estate game, they call me Bob Sleeves.
Sleeves. All right, yeah. Cool. That's dope. All right, so we got Bob Sleeves on the show today. And Bob, would you mind introducing yourself, kind of tell them a little bit about what you're about and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, sure. So Bob Sleeves is the name. That's what I go by as far as the real estate goes. Most everybody, Mike calls me Sleeves. Shelby, all the 5 Pillars crew, they all call me Sleeves. But yeah, I've been in the Army for 14 years now, I think. And started off like Mike as an 88 Mike, truck driver. So did that for like 9 years or so. Then realized, I just wanted to switch it up. So I reclassed. Came over to the soft side. If y'all are conventional and you're thinking about making the jump, go ahead and do it. I think the grass is greener on the other side. Go ahead and do that.
No more big
So my real estate story. So I actually realized there's something that really intrigued me about real estate when I was in the process of PCSing from Germany back here to Fort Bragg. So in that process, I'm looking at houses, I'm on Zillow, all that stuff. And I realized 7-8 hours had passed, and I just been looking at photos of houses for 8 hours. My wife had to remind me that that I had to eat or get up and use the bathroom, right? So I realized there's something with real estate, and then I started listening to podcasts and all that stuff, and So I think I heard Brandon Turner on Bigger Pockets say something about just take action, right? I did. I bought a rice field in Indonesia.
Yeah. Dude. A rice field in Indonesia. We're going to have to get into that. Go ahead and finish the story, but that's the very first thing I want to talk about. In Indonesia.
No, we're not going to talk more about it because I don't know what I was doing. I still don't know anything about it. But no, that was my take action moment.
Literally,
I'm the proud owner of we changed it over to a dragon fruit field now. Crazy, right? But yeah, then because there was, of course, a lot of mistakes made in that. So I kind of got away from real estate for a little bit. I was looking at, honing my craft as in my new profession. And then I got really addicted to jujitsu for a solid few years. Then realized after, some TDYs and reenlistments, I had this bank account that I had to put to use. So I dove back into real estate and, made my first purchase with the 5 Pillars crew, with Dan the Man Kid representing me. That was about 8 months ago, and I have 8 doors now.
Nice. All right, so man, you went all over the place. You pretty much experienced a lot just within real estate. Obviously, on the soft side, that's awesome too. But so let's go back to the Indonesia thing really quick, because I know people are listening like, what the hell, a rice field in Indonesia? So let's talk about that. I mean, you said take action. You took any kind of action, which is awesome. I mean, it is whatever, a rice field in Indonesia, dude, you own some property. So let's talk about that. One, how did you find that? Why a rice field in Indonesia? And I don't know, where was your thought process at? Because I think the average person would be like, all right, I'm going to take action. If I'm going to take action on anything, I'm just going to buy a single family home. But you went way left field. Right? So what's that about?
Yeah, so my wife is Indonesian, right? So so that's kind of the connection there, of course. And then there was something in my mind at that moment, when I was, you know, early in my self-education of real estate, that I just want to own a piece of property and have it appreciate, and I don't have to worry about it, right? So that's what I was thinking at the time, and it's kind of cool because my mother-in-law will also, she does benefit with the harvest. You know, she's making a little bit of money. She's managing the property essentially. But really for me, it was just more of an appreciation type play. But then I'm starting to think about how I want to sell it, take that money and invest it here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And then I realized, you know, exchange rates are kind of weird, you know, so if I sell it now, I'm going to lose money. So, yeah, I'm going to own that thing for the rest of my life, probably.
So that's what I'm curious about. So I've thought about buying stuff overseas, but in different countries. So how did that process work? Like how much you pay for it? What was that in like US dollars? And what are we talking here? Can you break that down just a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, again, made some crazy moves, cashed out my Roth IRA, right? Didn't know that I would be taxed and penalized if I pulled out more than just my contributions. So either I was misinformed or misunderstood, pulled out more than I should have. So I got taxed and penalized on that. Don't do that, y'all. Then, I paid 18,000 USD for this thing. And it's just sitting there now, paying for my in-laws. They're helping out with the quality of life over there in Indonesia. But I do plan in the future to kind of, you know, spend half the year in Indonesia, half the year here in the U.S. So it's fine. Like I'm not that worried about it. But I'm not seeing the benefits short term. That's for sure.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, no, we've talked about this before. I mean, that play there wasn't a massive, hey, this is my real first step into real estate journey type of play. This was a play that truly helped out his family in that specific situation, right? But you approached it, you know, you intended to approach it, you know, with an educated approach, like, hey, how can I hedge my risk? How can I, you know, come in there and still benefit my family at the same time? So overall, it's crazy play, but it worked out in your favor.
And that's what I love.
It's a good story. I have a good story now.
Right. That's what I was going to say. I love that about that. You did it with the intent to help out your family, but then also you're helping out with their quality of life. I mean, at first it was a rice field. Now you said it's a passion fruit field. Dragon fruit.
Wow.
So, I mean, they can take that and they can, you know, I'm assuming sell that local market and make them, you know, make some money off of that. So that's awesome. That's great. So was there any restrictions, like as far as buying overseas, or was it pretty much cut and dry? Did you like give the money to your mother-in-law to buy because you're a U.S. citizen, or how did that work?
Yeah, so in Indonesia, if you're not a citizen, you can't own property.
Oh,
right. So,
that's how most places are, like most countries are. Because I was going to buy a place in another country, and it was, you know, same thing. They're like, you got to be a citizen, so.
Right. So technically, I don't own anything in Indonesia. So
got you.
It's in my family's name. So I just sent them over the money and they purchased it, kind of thing. So.
Okay. Great. All right. So moving on. So we learned about the dragon fruit field in Indonesia, helping out the family. That's awesome. Moving on to your more current deals or your more recent deals, right? So now we're buying in the U.S. So where are we at with that, and how's that looking?
Yeah, so I bought my first two rentals. My first one about 8 months ago, and then another one like right after that, with Dan Mike from Five Pillars representing me. And then you know, those are some good deals. But I realized that there's something more out there, and I realized as I'm buying these houses that, you know, my little nest egg of investment cash was slowly but surely dwindling away, right, with these first two purchases. So I was like, I got to figure out something to, you know, to help fill that gap right? So I decided to go into wholesaling, right? So I started off wholesaling on, I guess on accident, really, right? So I knew about it and stuff, but wasn't really focused on, I wanted to buy from wholesalers. I wanted to be a buy and hold investor that purchased good deals off the MLS and also from wholesalers. And but yeah, got a house under contract. Totally intended on purchasing it. Dug deeper into the numbers, had contractors run it or walk it, and all that, and then realized that it didn't quite fit my criteria. So I was like, oh yeah, I can assign the contract and make a couple bucks. So I did. Joe, one of Dan's best buddies, that ended up being his first purchase. Was my first wholesale deal. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I think I made like, I don't know, like $4,000 on that one, maybe. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, had $4,000 in my pocket, and then that I could invest in elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like tip nugget right there, guys. Like the fact that Bob was in the environment around other investors, you were just rubbing elbows, man. And you knew immediately you had a certain intent for that purchase, but because you were around the right crew, you had an exit strategy. You had an alternate solution to save yourself if you messed up, right? So that's just the power of networking right there. I love it, man.
And I love that you had the wherewithal to think about, hey, what other exit strategies do I have? So one quick thing, backing up, what is wholesaling? What does that mean?
So wholesaling is going out, hitting the streets, finding off-market, either so distressed property or distressed sellers, right? So, and then the what's really great is whenever you combine the two, you find a distressed seller that has a distressed property, right? So just real simple, whenever you get a contract or a property under contract, as if you're going to purchase the property, but I mean, you can assign any property here in the U.S., right? So you get it under contract with the seller. So you have the AB contract, and then you have the BC contract, right? So after I get it under contract with the seller, I go out and find a buyer. It's typically someone with 5 pillars. They bring a buyer a lot of times, and then they sign an assignment contract. So I assign my equitable rights in the property to the end buyer with that BC contract.
Exactly. So if I'm a distressed owner, if I'm a distressed owner, I own a property that's worth $100,000, but because I'm in a distressed situation, I say, hey, I'll sell it to you, Sleeves, for $80,000. You will write a contract. Me and you will write a contract, which is your equitable interest, right, for $80,000. So you are owning the rights to that home for $80,000. Then you go and find someone like Mike who will buy it for $90,000. Right. You and Mike, then basically you sell that contract, your equitable interest, to Mike for $90,000. So there's a difference there. It's $80,000 and $90,000. That $10,000 difference is what you keep as the person that put that deal together. So that's just easy explanation, just like Bob said, for listeners out there who are unfamiliar with wholesalers.
And you mentioned that this is now kind of like your thing, right? This is kind of, you found this path of wholesaling. Why'd you choose wholesaling in your current situation over anything else? Fix and flips, buy and holds, or whatever the case may be.
Being a real estate agent?
Being a real estate agent. I get on him all the time, man. I get on. But why'd you decide, why'd you settle on wholesaling? What about it attracted you?
It's just the process of hitting the streets, finding sellers, negotiating the deals, as I'm negotiating the deal, finding ways to help distressed sellers is really great too. Whenever I come out of a deal and the seller's like, wow, thank you so much for that. That was, I was in a situation, I was in a bind, I didn't think I could get out of it. And you really helped me out. So thank you. That right there is great, right? Because a lot of people, they don't know real estate, right? So they don't know their options. So they think they're stuck. They think they have to go into foreclosure. They think like a lot of folks, I just helped someone out with a short sale versus foreclosure, right? I'm not making any profit on it, but I guided them in the right direction. So I'm constantly helping people, which is great. That's really what intrigued me the most. And just the whole process of going out there, I'm all about acquisition, right? I love going out there, negotiating, talking with motivated sellers and getting it under contract. And that's why a lot of times I partner with 5 pillars, Mike, Dan, Shelby, because they can help with that disposition side of the transaction. And I can just do what I like, which is talking to sellers.
That's excellent.
It sounds like you enjoy problem solving, and I forget who said it, but somebody says you're going to be compensated, or you will reap the reward based on the size of the problem that you can solve. Sure. And with wholesaling, you know, if you can really create a creative solution to a problem, i.e. short sales or whatever, man, you get to reap the rewards of it. Everybody's happy.
Right.
Yeah, man. So you so you started wholesaling. How long ago did you start wholesaling? About how many deals do you think you've done? And then the third question, I'm kind of asking 3 questions here. Last question is, how are you making that work while you're still active duty?
That's money right there. So I think I did that very first wholesale deal, that kind of accidental one, probably 6 months ago, 6.5, maybe coming up on 7 months. So I guess I've been wholesaling since then. But I think I've done a total of like 10 wholesale deals since then. So like a total of like 18 total real estate transactions in like the last 8 months or so. Which
how did, come on, man, you're active duty. You've been in 14 years, so you're obviously at a position that has some responsibilities. You got the pink bike in the back, so you got some kids, right? Come on, man. How did you crunch all that into 8 months? How'd you make that happen?
So I'm going to say something that some people could see as controversial, right? So a little while back, I listened to the 10X rule with Grant Cardone, right? And I listened to the audio version, right? I listened to it, right? So, and it's him reading the book, right? And he goes off script, and he's like, all right. If this isn't in the book, this isn't typed in the book, but what I'm going to tell you right now is something that you all need to listen to. Don't be a little bitch.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I love that portion.
I was like, oh! Don't be a bitch, y'all.
That is literally my favorite part of that audio. That's my favorite part of the audio.
You don't get that unless you are, listening to the audio version, right? So that's money right there, y'all. That's money.
That's like, come on, man. Don't be a little bitch. I loved it. That was my favorite part. Yeah.
But no, for real. Like,
right.
That is a big part of it. But really, it just comes down to being dedicated and really wanting to succeed, right? And you hear all the stuff, you're goal setting and all that kind of stuff like that, which is all fine and great. I got my my little gratitude book right here in front of me, actually, and I do that every morning. And everybody's heard about that kind of stuff, but really, this is another one that I should really bring up too. Is I read Traction. Well, I listened to Traction a little while ago, and they say you need to create your business as if you're going to franchise it, right? So being in the military, I don't have a lot of time. I'm playing Army, 12 hours a day or whatever. So it forces me to build and structure the wholesale business in that manner, right? If I want to scale anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I have 2 virtual assistants right now. I just hired my mom as my lead manager, which is kind of cool.
Perfect. Yeah.
I have a driver / appointment specialist. Her job is to go out and put lock boxes on properties, take photos, video walkthroughs. So I have a little team, right? So that's kind of how. So kind of give y'all an idea of how my day works out, right? So in the evenings, I have my cold caller. She's doing that, and then leads are coming in. And throughout the day, my mother, my lead manager, is running numbers, contacting those sellers and verifying those leads and all that. And then as I'm driving home around 1700, I call her up. I say, Mama, what's hot? And then she's like, all right, yeah, this one really wants to sell. They're motivated. Here's the numbers. She knows she essentially hands me a little package, and I'm closing deals on the ride home from work.
That's money, man. Yeah.
That's how you do it, man.
Dude, that's
I
money.
love it.
That's that audiobook, the to 10x, when he says that, that's my favorite part of the entire book, man. I love that. And then I love that you use that to fuel, and then obviously with the traction piece, setting up and systemizing your business, right? Hiring out other people. I think that's one thing that a lot of military members, I have a small team as well, and when we talk about, or when people ask me about, hey, how are you doing all this stuff, they don't think about delegating things out, hiring other people, tasking out other people to do work, making all the difficult, all the time consuming stuff, hiring that out. And then you can actually deal with what's actually making you the most money, right? Which is closing deals, getting that package, like you said, and executing that way. So that's phenomenal, man. That's great.
I think it's really important that what you said, don't be a bitch, but apparently you are what's clear is that you made a priority. To me, there's no such thing as an excuse. Either you want to do it or you don't. Don't come to me with, oh, but I would do it, but nah, man, it's not high enough of a priority for you. Right. You made it a priority. You structured your business, included your family. I mean, come on, man. And us being veterans, we all understand teamwork. We all understand that none of us will be able to function in the military if it wasn't for a team, right? Yeah, you could be the gun shooter if you want to be, but I guarantee you got admin right behind you helping you out. You have your transportation cell helping you out. You have your communication cell. It's a team. And you've been able to kind of take those same models and develop your own thing, man. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Dude, that's the biggest part too. Like to kind of touch on what you said just a little bit there. I think a lot of people, again, when I talk to other service members about like, hey, what we're doing here, they have a split between military and what you can do in the civilian world, right? So all these things that we learn in the military, the teamwork, especially as leaders, right? Because you're a leader, Mike was a leader, I'm a leader. We manage teams, right? The same exact principles, those don't change from the military to the civilian world. You can take those same exact principles and apply them to what you're doing in the military world. And I don't think a lot of people are really understanding that. I think there's a split there, like, all right, well, I managed a team in the military, but how am I going to do all these things in the civilian world? For some reason, they have it in their mind that they have to do it themselves. It's like, no, man, you're doing all this over here. Just take it over here. Hire some people. You can do it. So that's amazing. So let's talk about a little more about digging a little bit more deeper into the wholesaling, because I'm extremely interested in the wholesaling. I just picked up a course, the TTP course by Wholesaling Brent Daniels. Yeah, man, that was like it was a pretty penny, man. I just dropped like 4 G's on that course. So for those of you who are out there listening, we take courses as well, man. Like we take courses, we pay for courses. I would spend 4 G's to make me 100 G's, man. That's just what it is.
Yep.
But I'm extremely interested in wholesaling, so I'm curious, breaking it down a little bit. I understand your acquisition team you kind of gave over there. It seems like you're giving your disposition to the 5 pillars for the most part. As far as some of the systems that you're using to maintain that, are you using things like the Deal Maker and like Prop Stream? Can you kind of go into some of those, and maybe what those are and how you're using this? I guess this is kind of selfish questions for me, but
no, it's great. Yeah, because I'm just now figuring all this stuff out, because I've only been doing this for a few months, right? So but Prop Stream is for sure something you need. And what's great about Prop Stream is you can pull a list on there, right? I use Podio as my CRM, or my customer relations management system. So those 2 things, and Deal Machine, right? So if y'all want to start in wholesaling, or if y'all just want to find your own deals as far as flips or buying holds, Deal Machine is where it's at. Start with Deal Machine. I have a bunch of drivers that drive around town and find me deals on Deal Machine as well.
How do you do that? Are you like paying them, hey, you get a percentage if we close on this deal, or like what? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I got it set up. I have a contract and everything that they sign. They're essentially independent contractors that work for me. So as soon as they get paid, or they add 100 approved properties, and that's cool. My wife is the approver of each photo that comes in. And I can send you all this stuff too if you're interested in it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But no, yeah. So as soon as they add 100 properties, they get $100, right? Because it takes a little bit of time for them for me to close on one of their deals, just the way direct mail works, right? So, but as soon as I closed on one of their deals, like my friend, partner, my appointment specialist, Bree, she's made a few $1,000s off the deals that I've closed on, and not to mention all the other stuff that she's getting paid for as well.
And all she's doing is driving around, like she's going on her regular route to work, maybe taking a different route, right? Yep. Snap a picture, boom, put it in Deal Machine. You know, it uploads there. It uploads to an Excel file, right?
Yeah, you can export all your deals if you don't want to send a piece of a postcard to the owner's property. Then you can export it and have folks cold call it. Okay. You can get it skip trace, and you can work it. A lot of people do it like that, just because it's a little bit faster turnaround. But I love direct mail, right?
Excellent. Okay.
I love it.
Are you using bandit signs as well?
No, I haven't started bandit signs, but I did just pay $5,000 to learn how to advertise on radio.
I think I know what course you're talking about.
Yeah,
I bet I know exactly what course you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, it's on TTP. It's REI Radio. Yep.
Yep.
So I'm taking that course right now. I just went through the first module, so we'll see what comes out of that. So really, what it is for me is I want to build my business around the lifestyle I want to live. Right.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
So it's all about having people call me and tell me they want to sell their house, right? Because I'm constantly reaching out to potential sellers, and I was doing cold calling myself for a while, just sitting down for hours and all that. So it's a grind. It's a grind, right? Mm-hmm. What I really want is people to contact me, right? So things like bandit signs, radio, TV, all the other the outbound marketing.
Yeah.
Right. So, well, I'm sorry, inbound. So the leads are coming into me.
Yeah.
Right. And I just sit back and I have my mama answer the phone. Right.
Right.
So,
bro, this is like, I love how you identified early that you want to design this business to create the lifestyle that you want to live. Yeah. And you did not use the excuse, because a lot of people do this. Oh, well, I have to first build a name for myself, and everybody has to know me in 50 states before I can build a system like that. No, you decided to build the foundation that way, bro. That's money right there.
That's and really big. Fail forward, y'all. Fail forward. I'm constantly failing. Listen to this. I deleted my entire cash buyers list the other day off of Podio. You can't get it back. So I had a trick. Like, I'm just constantly failing forward on a day.
Right? That hurt me.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah. So, and the big thing is you began with the end in mind. You did two crucial things that I think are crucial in making a successful business or reaching success, right? One is you began with the end in mind. So you had an idea. You're like, all right, this is exactly how I want to live my lifestyle. You planned it out, right? And then two, you began with the end in mind. And two, you systemized everything. You delegated everything out. You used those skills that I assume that you learned while serving, right? Building teams, working with teams, and you applied that to the civilian side, to your own business, and you're delegating, giving ownership to other, maximizing your time, right? Mm-hmm. So those two things alone, I think, are crucial to success in business and just in life in general. So yeah, that's huge. All right, so wholesaling. So we talked wholesaling, and we're likely going to have to talk a little bit more once we get done with with this episode, because like I'm super interested in it right now. And I'm trying to move that way as well. But moving to the more the buy and hold deals, right? So we're doing wholesaling the entire time. Why are we wholesaling? I assume we're wholesaling to buy more assets, right?
Right. Yeah. Using that active income to purchase the properties to create that passive income. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So let's talk about some of the passive income that you have going on right now. We're tracking the dragon fruit field, and I know you said you had 8 units. So I don't know if those are all duplexes, or if they're all single families or multifamily. Can you break some of that down, and maybe some of the more interesting deals that you've done on the buy and hold side?
Yeah, sure. So let's see. When I say 8 doors, 4 of those doors are a quad. And then I actually have 2 burrs going on right now. So one being the quad, and then one being a 3-bed, 1.5 bath, and I'm turning into a 3-2 full bath.
What does the BRRRR mean?
The BRRRR strategy. Everybody loves the BRRRR strategy. Yeah. So you buy the property, you rehab the property, you rent out the property, you refinance, and then you repeat that process, right? So that's my favorite way to go about it. I like to get properties, like purchase them, but completely fix the capital expenditures, brand new roofs, brand new HVACs, and basically have a brand new house, so I don't have to worry about it, and my expenses are extremely low for, 15, 20 years or whatever, right? So, but yeah, so I do wholesale. I'm a buy and hold guy that happens to wholesale on the side to fund my rental habit. You got me? Right? So a lot of other wholesalers yell at me. They're like, you need to close more wholesale deals. I'm like, nah, boss, you got it messed up. I buy everything I can and wholesale what I don't want or what I can't, right?
Cherry pick.
Yeah, exactly. I'm buying everything. So I got a warehouse in a contract right now.
Nice.
So yeah, weird. But yeah, it's all about getting the active income to purchase more rentals, to fund that passive income.
Excellent. So let's break down some of those. So we said we had a 4-unit and you're doing the BRRRR strategy. Can you give us an example, how you're using the BRRRR for, for people that aren't, don't know what the BRRRR strategy is or how that works?
Yeah. So for the quad, I purchased it with a line of credit, got me a TINA loan. Mike, help me out.
Yup.
So if y'all in the Fayetteville area and y'all need some lines of credits and all that stuff, hit up me or Mike, and
we're going to point you in the same direction. Yeah. Stellar lender.
Oh man, good stuff. So I have multiple lines of credit. So I purchased the property with those lines of credit. I'm doing the rehab with those lines of credit. And then here in a few months, I'll be able to do a cash out refi, pay off those lines of credit, and then have a cash flowing property.
See, one thing I want to highlight is a lot of people say, some people may have a step up because they can borrow money from friends and family. But guys, if you just get creative, there's a lot of short-term money out there. You don't have to do a hard money loan, right, where you're paying 2 points at 10% interest. No, go out and get a line of credit, maybe get a cash advance on a credit card. Now, obviously, there's some stipulations with the interest rates and things like that you have to consider. But I'm trying to say there's literally no excuse to why you can't find, especially if you're working in the price point, that a lot of these deals are. We're working well under $100,000 for a lot of these deals on purchase and the rehab. Come on, guys, get a little creative.
And you can easily make a good 20, 25, maybe even $30,000 off just the cash out refi, or maybe not just cash out refi, but if you want to flip it, maybe the cash out refi, you make all your money back plus $10,000 or so. But then you got to think about it. You own and manage a rental property essentially for free. You got paid to do that, and you have infinite return on investment. So
yes,
it's just a all out win, especially for those military that are listening right now. And I mean, we all have a stable income. So, I mean, it's pretty easy, to link up with Mike and the key lender that you're talking about. I'm sure, they look at our credit, they look at, our stable income, and it's pretty easy for us to qualify for these loans with lines of credit. So as long as you have a little bit of knowledge and how to use it, then, I mean, you're pretty much money. And then if you don't, then link up with people like myself, Mike, and Rob Sleeves here, or Bob Sleeves here, and we can definitely help you out. I mean, it's too easy. We're all about sharing the knowledge and creating some more wealth within our community. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and then you mentioned something about the network earlier, Mike, that I want to hit on, and you're talking about it too, Dan. Is 5 pillars, you hear about it pretty often too, right? You need your core 4 to get started, right? So 1, being a contractor, you need a good contractor. You need a good lender, right? And you need a good property manager. And you also should start off with a good real estate agent that's investor friendly, right? And what's great about it is if you got a rock star real estate agent, they're going to line you up with everybody else. You hook up with Mike, Dan, Shelby, all those folks, 5 pillars, you're good. They're going to line you up. You're going to have your rock stars lined up, and they're going to really help you out. So
Another thing I'll highlight is, so with you being able to find out an agent in your area, that's great. The agent can usually line you up. But if you're maybe starting off on the investing side and you're not necessarily looking to buy and sell through an agent, then find an attorney. Because honestly, some of my first deals were with an attorney. The attorney walked me through, he held my hand through my first subject twos, through my first owner financing deals, right? But again, that attorney has to be real estate investor savvy as well. So you gotta have to really align it. But yeah, Bob's exactly right. If you can identify those key players, leverage your weaknesses. Leverage your weaknesses and find those people that have those strengths.
So I've talked about this several times in different videos. If you guys look at the Military Cashflow YouTube channel, you'll find videos on a lot of topics that we talked about, the burst strategy, like in detail. Also, you know, finding and building a team, right? And one of those people I talk about a lot of times is the realtor. All right, so I have my own opinions about realtor. What to you, for a rockstar realtor that's investor friendly, what does that mean to you versus a realtor that's not?
Right. So first off, they have to be an investor, right? Mm-hmm. They have to be an investor themselves, right? So when I was looking for an investor-friendly agent, I was, you know, calling everybody on Zillow trying to talk to folks, right? So what I realized, if you say something to them about, hey, yeah, you know, I heard about this BRRRR strategy. Can you help me find properties similar that will help me out with that BRRRR strategy? What? What are you talking about? Click, keep it moving. Right. So you want to ask certain investor type questions, right? Because not to say that they're bad real estate agents, they're just focused on something different, right? So you gotta, the first question could be is, hey, real estate agent, are you an investor? I want to be an investor. Will you help me? And then if they say yes, then you can kind of move forward. If no, try to find somebody else.
Direct. I love it because there's so many people, you know, everybody hears it all the time. Well, it's a tax question. So I asked my uncle, like, well, what? Like, your uncle doesn't have a tax background. What do you mean? Or it's like, I'm going for the NFL. So I'm going to my cousin who quit playing in high school. It's like, what do you mean? So you have to align yourself with people who are doing it or who know what they're talking about. So I love that.
That's my first question with to find rockstar realtors as well. Hey, are you an investor? Do you own any property? Mm-hmm. People, like, it's so crazy to me that there's, I mean, I get it. You know, real estate agents, you know, it's crazy to me that real estate agents deal with homes all the time, 24/7, and they know the advantage of them. They're trying to sell it to you. They're saying, yeah, own a property, you know, maybe you want to take it to rental, but they don't have any rentals themselves. They can't talk what it means to, you know, to BRRRR a house. They can't talk. They don't know the numbers. Like I'm telling, my very first experience with a realtor, when I tried to buy my first rental property, I said, hey, I'm looking for a 2% deal. Because this was around 2015-ish time frame. So they were out there at that time, especially where I was looking. And for those who aren't familiar with like a 2% deal or 1% deal, it's essentially whatever the value of the home is. You should be collecting twice that amount, minus a couple zeros, in rent, basically. So for example, a 1% deal, if there's $100,000 house, I need to be collecting $1,000 in rent. That's 1% deal. To make that same scenario a 2% deal, if it's $100,000 house and I want a 2% deal, I need to be collecting $2,000 a month in rent. So that's what I was looking for at the time, and I was looking for multifamily. And this realtor had no idea what I was talking about, but I kept going with her. And she basically put my criteria into the MLS and then just left it that way. And they just sent me emails. You know, I was like, well, I could have did this on Zillow. I didn't need you to do that. And then she tried to get me to sign an exclusivity contract for like 90 days. And I'm like, you didn't even do anything. Like, so now if I go and try to buy a property for something that you didn't help me with, I have to pay you a percentage for the deal when you didn't do anything at all, but basically do a Zillow search for me. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So that is my key differentiator between rockstar realtors and realtors that know how to invest. Because the investor friendly realtors, they'll look for the off-market deals for you. And then on top of that, they're okay with you underbidding on prices. So that's another thing that I think some realtors are not comfortable with doing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question too, because Some agents aren't really comfortable with you putting in like 40 offers a week at like 50 cents on the dollar, right? When I was looking for that first property, I had Daniel Kidd working his butt off, probably put in 40, 50 offers within a week just to find one deal, right? Mm-hmm. So they should be somewhat comfortable with putting in multiple offers in a week. That's big.
And they should be able to design the system, according to be able to facilitate that. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, all right, you got all this experience in a short amount of time, right? And you've done it while you're fully active duty with the family in the background. What would be one piece of advice for you could provide to a service member who's just looking to get started in real estate?
And you hear this all the information's out there, y'all. You don't have to go very far. You just have to spend a little bit of time, right? The YouTube podcast, you have folks all over the place that are giving out free content on how to get educated when it comes to real estate investing. Take advantage of that stuff. I just now paid my first for my first mentor, right? Which is really not necessary. I don't need to do it, right? But get out there, go to real estate meetups, talk to people, and don't be scared to tell people I don't know what I'm doing, because that's what's great about real estate is so many people are willing to come together. When they see that someone is not comfortable or they're new, a lot of times they take them by the hand and they're like, hey, I got you. Let's move forward and we can help each other out. So I would say get out there, educate yourself.
Big time, dude. That's phenomenal, man. And again, with that coaching aspect, I think coaching just helps bring you to the next level. I take a lot of courses. People wouldn't believe how much money I spend on courses, but we find results. I know every single one of us have taken courses and probably spent thousands and thousands of dollars on courses, and the results, the results speak for themselves. So while you can go out and get a bunch of free information, it's all out there. People are willing to help,
And the best, you can get all the education you want. You could pay $30,000. If you don't take action, it means nothing.
Yes.
So if I love it, man, go out there. There's no excuse, right? We just said it. It must not be a high enough priority because, right, like Bob said, you got plenty of free education out there. You got plenty of meetups where people are inviting. They want you to come. They want to help educate you, right? But you got to take action. You have to take action.
Turn your cable off for a good solid 6 months. Don't watch TV.
Yeah, cancel your Netflix account. How about that?
Cancel all that stuff, because I know soldiers, right? I used to sit down on Sunday for a solid 12 hours and watch football all day long, right? But, here on a Saturday, early enough in the morning, I'm talking to real estate folks. You know what I mean? So.
Excellent. All right. So Bob Sleeves, where can our listeners find out more about you? Where can they reach you if they have any questions?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram and a Facebook, and then if you just type in Bob Sleeves, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that pops up. So yeah, and especially if y'all are interested in any really good BRRRR deals, I can add you to my cash buyers list. So just hit me up on social media, and we can have a conversation on what your criteria is, and I can try to find you a deal.
Love it.
Excellent. Hey, so thanks so much for coming on the show. You provided so much value for those out there listening. I know you're going to continue to crush it in the real estate world. Hey, for those out there who are listening or watching the podcast, please do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating on the podcast on whatever you're listening to. We really, really appreciate that stuff. That helps kind of fuel the fire and give us more energy to keep doing this stuff. It's basically feedback letting us know that you're getting value out of this. So we really, really appreciate that. With that said, this is Dan Wynn.
And Mike Glaspie.
And this is the Military Cashflow podcast and YouTube channel. Signing off.